Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of podcast with BL Inside Circle. Myself, Dheer Dedia, and here is Akshat Bansal. Today, we have a very unique and interesting guest by the name of Shreyas Shewade. He has recently joined Upgrad as the head of content and creative marketing. Let's hear from Shreyas directly. Hi, Shreyas.
Hi.
Uh, so so everybody knows you now because of the recent news and recent promotion, or should I rather say, joining to Upgrad. But not many people know about your journey before Upgrad. You have been in the corporate world for quite some time, more than a decade, and our viewers would be really interested in knowing the journey right from your content marketing days to your agency and now finally to Upgrad. So tell us more about this.
So, yes, thank you, Dheer, and thank you, Akshat, for having me here. First of all, I think uh, I think I'm quite lucky to be here. When you consider your previous guests, somebody who climbed a mountain and somebody who raced like cars, and now I'm here, somebody who made ads. Okay, so I feel quite delighted to be included in this. Uh, my background, I started off as an engineer. I've done my mechanical engineering, and then I joined like a small content shop in Bombay. माय पेरेंट्स ऑफ कोर्स हैड अ हार्ड टाइम एक्सेप्टिंग दैट, तो वो काफी टाइम तक लोगों को बोलते थे हमारे बेटे ने इंजीनियरिंग किया है बट अभी कुछ एडवर्टाइजिंग में कर रहा है. सो इट ऑलवेज केम विद दिस लिटिल टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस कि नहीं, वैसे तो कोई बिगड़ा हुआ बच्चा नहीं है, इंजीनियरिंग किया है उसने, बट ही इज नाउ डूइंग समथिंग. So yeah, so I had a small beginning. I joined a content house which I had never heard of. I started off wanting to write television commercials. I joined this place where I started writing blogs and emailers and all this little BTL marketing ka jo bhi rehta hai, right? After that, I moved to Grey, which is, I mean, it's a multinational company, part of the WPP network. And that's where I really got exposed to the world of advertising, how to craft consumer propositions that will make people buy things. I explored new media, which was digital, which was still coming up back then. I remember, in fact, we started the Twitter handles, Facebook handles. Instagram to us time pe tha bhi nahi. So we used to, we've, I've been there since the birth of digital advertising, I can say. Then I moved through a bunch of agencies, all network agencies. I straddled traditional advertising. I've done digital. I joined an agency which is known for PR, which is Edelman. So I learned the other side of the landscape. And then finally, I joined McCann just before joining Upgrad, where I was heading creative for their Bombay branch. Uh, and yeah, and then I landed up at Upgrad. So when you say I've been in corporate for the last 10 years, I think this is my first stint in a corporate because agencies को आप corporate में नहीं गिन सकते. It's the wild west. It's not corporate. It's just a bunch of creative people who are there in a room and throwing ideas at each other. This, of course, is much more serious and on a personal note, I think more purposeful because 10 साल में मैंने बहुत सारे अच्छे campaigns तो कर लिए, but I could never look back and say कि look at this brand, it was here and I took it here. Which is why I was looking to move out of an agency also, and Upgrad seemed like a good fit. I have like I love to call it a love-hate relationship with education. Uh, I was a topper in school, then I kind of lost my way in engineering. I started my career, by the way, not in an agency, but teaching English to a bunch of, to a motley group of people, students, housewives, working professionals. And then I got into advertising, and now I think I'm back, so to speak. So my college ke atmosphere mein, of course, it's a different kind of college. And I've always loved being in this process of education. I do take a few courses at MICA, which is a premier advertising school. And in general, I think in my work also, people have told me that they've enjoyed working with me because I take the time out to teach. So I think it just seemed like a natural fit.
You were also an entrepreneur in between, like when you were switching agencies. Tell us about that journey, because that would have been a you just told about being an engineer and then starting with the content marketing. and then after a few years you ventured into entrepreneurship on your own, or maybe with a couple of your partners. So you started that. It was obviously a big decision. And how did you handle that particular phase of your life? Because this being an entrepreneur is a big step.
Right. So I think I missed out on that because I can say it now in hindsight after the crime has been done. But I used to run a agency by with my partner. But when I was also working in another agency, I won't name the agency. But I started it like 3 years into the into my career, and we pretty much started out because we were not happy with the kind of work that we were doing. तो उस इंटेंशन से स्टार्ट किया था. We approached clients that were neither in conflict of our previous employers nor in conflict with our current employers. Some good brands also. We handled a lot of Star India ka marketing, Star Plus, Star Sports and whatnot. We did some stuff for Bajaj Allianz. So I ran it for 2 years, grossed around 1 CR plus every year, which is not to say much because the margins aren't that great in advertising.
This
But
was
yeah, we
which
did
year? Sorry, this was which year?
in 13, 14. Yeah, 13, 14 and
13, 14 mein yaar, 1 CR is good enough. You cannot be
Yeah,
humble
yeah.
right now.
No, I'm not being humble. I'm just saying that, and I had my share of fun. I think I funded my honeymoon to Seychelles on that money. So I'm not being humble, but I'm saying that 1 CR sounds big for some industries as revenue, but the margins aren't that great. So 1 CR was not my revenue; it didn't come in my pocket.
Yeah.
But it was like I said, we started off to do different kind of work. But then entrepreneurship is not the same as coming up with ideas. You also have to take care of a lot of other things, and eventually we realized that we were doing the same thing, and we weren't growing. Right? पहले दूसरे साल में अच्छा growth हुआ, but then in fact पहले साल में ही जो growth हुआ वो हुआ. After that, it pretty much stagnated. It was getting a little difficult to manage 2 jobs. I had other At that time I had other goals of having some good work under my belt. So then we decided to close it down. Business was good, but मजा नहीं आ रहा था.
Wow. So you can this is like a filmy this thing के life में kick नहीं मिल रहा था, इसलिए हमने we just, though it was going good, incomes was nice though. So nice, very interesting part. Akshat, do you want to go next?
Basically, how do you see digital marketing changing? I mean, considering it has been currently dominated by two main players, Google Advertising and Yahoo Bing Network. So how do you see it changing? Do you see a third player coming in or trying to upset, or it'll stay the same and most of the things will still be under the Google Advertising banner? How do you feel about that?
So there are many definitions of digital marketing, right? And I'm saying this because you kind of missed out on Facebook, which is the other big player. I was not even expecting Yahoo to be a player. So I think the first thing to do is to not look at digital as a medium. We look at television as a medium. We look at outdoor and print as mediums. Digital is not a medium; it's a world. And the sooner marketers understand that, the better they will be able to deliver for their brands. So there are many aspects of digital marketing. Facebook and Google control most of the display part of things, right? Display advertising. You put typically banners selling a product or a service. That's where Google and Facebook are making big bucks. And of course, they've also changed the landscape entirely, where television as a medium or outdoor as a medium or print as a medium was available only to big advertisers. Google and Facebook both get most of their money from small businesses. So just to give you an example, I think there was some tussle between P&G, Procter and Gamble, and Facebook. When P&G was saying कि उनको कुछ चाहिए, they needed some sort of special rates. And they decided that if Facebook doesn't allow it, then they will pull out all of their advertising from Facebook, which, by the way, amounted to just some 0.1% of Facebook's revenue, all of P&G's advertising. Because, like I said, Facebook gets most of its money from Facebook, and Google gets most of its money from smaller advertisers, SMEs. So in that light, I think digital has really opened up advertising as an option, marketing and advertising an option, to companies that are home run, to companies that don't need 1,000 people workforce, that companies that don't need a marketing department also. You, as an entrepreneur, you can run your own ad. This was never possible in television. This was never possible in outdoor. So in that case, I think digital marketing has not only seen a shift in itself, I think, but in the marketing landscape, it has really changed the game. One more change that I've seen in digital marketing is that earlier it was BTL, it was जो पैसा छुट्टा बचता है मार्केटिंग बजट से वो डिजिटल में डालते थे. These days डिजिटल पे ब्रांड बिल्ड होता है. I don't think I have seen I mean there are few cred का है, Swiggy के अच्छे ads आते हैं, but barring a few ads, handful of ads on television, I don't think I have seen any advertising that has really created brand love or brand affinity that is not on digital. Everything happens on digital, right? And if you see any marketer's budget these days, it either matches or even exceeds TV. So digital को जो हम new medium बोलते थे वो सब और medium of the future बोलते थे वो सब ज़माना गया. It is now, and in fact, if you're not already on digital marketing, I think you've missed the bus, and there's some really hard catching up to do.
That brings into my next question. Now, consider that there is a government change that I think there is one in Singapore, that you cannot broadcast advertisements. You cannot drop the customers direct mailers, even if they have subscribed. So how do you think such challenges will hamper growth in the digital marketing arena? Considering the fact that the dimensions are changing, you cannot outreach the customer, your outreach has reduced, your product cannot, there are a limited medium now. So do you think a transition from a digital world back to a normal world will be feasible for a country like India in case the data privacy rules all become more stringent?
Yeah, and they will be stringent, right? Either it will be self-regulated, the way Google is planning to do away with the cookie, or it will be government regulated, or it will be regulated by brands where they take a stand कि हम आपका data लेके उसको misuse नहीं करेंगे. And of course, it will all depend on which side the public mood is going, right? What Singapore has done, I think people were already doing across the world. We have ad blockers, so ads नहीं दिख सकते. We don't open email, so email करके भी आप करेंगे क्या, right? So I don't see it changing anything. People have always ignored ads. Ads have never been क्या बोलते हैं, very well liked. Yes, there are people who enjoy good ads. Everybody likes a good ad once in a while. But is it like a vital function? I don't think it is. So it's just another challenge that marketers can add to their list. We now have to figure out how to work around this. And I can assure you that people are already working around it. I'll tell you one more thing that recently came out much closer home in India. The Advertising Council, ASCI, जो रहता है, Advertising Standard Councils of India, they recently came up with a guideline for influencer marketing, which was much needed because eventually a brand is paying someone money to endorse their product, and there is absolutely no disclaimer that this particular piece is being paid for. For the longest time, in our industry, it was discussed, is it ethical, is it not ethical, but it was clearly working. I mean, influencer marketing is now a $1 billion industry worldwide. So now what do you do? Earlier you used to say, अच्छा ये बंदा या ये बंदी influential है, whatever she says people will buy, and ऐसे भी नहीं लगेगा कि ad है, so it will be more credible. But now you clearly have to mention. So these things are, I mean, they keep coming up every day for a marketer, right? It's like I said, it's just one more challenge that you have to overcome. And marketing is all about overcoming challenges to sell a product. So I don't see it impacting much. We'll figure out ways of getting that ad to you. I guarantee you that.
And I believe many have done that. The ads still find.
True. I mean, what is content marketing? It's what advertising cannot do. If you have an ad blocker, you can block an ad. But if I create some nice, beautiful piece of content, a short film that you really like, with a brand at the top, you can't skip it because you won't even know that it's an ad until it hits you.
Okay, for someone like me or Akshat, we already have worked for 5 years in corporate world. came back to college. This is a 1-year MBA course, IMK BL program, and we'll be rejoining the corporate world in a few months. Any advice or anything for us?
I actually want to know. I was going to ask you. I want to know what is the course about. I have, of course, read up on it online, but if you can just tell me, what do you guys learn? What does the college hope to bring out in you through this course?
Okay, so the course is called, it's a 1-year full-time residential program, IIMK BL. BL stands for Business Leadership. So most of the tier one colleges have these kinds of 1-year MBA program for experienced professionals. If you have a minimum 3, 4, or 5 years of work ex, and different colleges have a different criteria. Our colleges have minimum 3 years of work ex, though the average mean work experience of our batch is around 4.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So after so someone, for example, me or an Akshat who has a work experience of 4 years or 5 years, and then we rejoin a MBA program, and then after that we go for a campus placement or a job. After post the MBA, we would like to ideally go at a job which is at a mid senior level, or maybe a role, if not mid senior, indirectly it should be somewhere wherein you're leading a business, you're leading a team, and that's why the name business leadership, business BL comes into the name. That's what I
So,
get. Akshat, you want to add something?
yeah. Adding to these, so basically, it's not like that we are not. We start off with the basics of MBA, the hard stuff that we need, the number crunching, the analysis, marketing. We start with all the hard stuff. But what we have in addition is a small soft touch of leadership to each and every subject that we do.
Right.
In terms of how do you analyze things, not just to, put it towards to your supervisor, but to taking it towards how to put it towards, shaping the organization. How do you, there's always a softer aspects to decisions. So we are taught not that, yeah, this is a decision that was taken at a certain point in time. What were the softer aspects? So basically, this is tailored to someone who wants to go to mid or senior management, and more on the lines of, yeah, you know your hard stuff. We know that you know. Now the thing is, you need to build the organization. So how do you go about it? And it's basically we are challenged in every day. How do you think about leadership? If you have any preconceived notions about leadership, we challenge them. That's what the program does. It's moving a transition from basically it being a thought process to a skill base. Yeah, that anyone can be a leader. Just you need that kind of affinity towards it, understanding the soft skills. So it's basically on those directions, not only on the hard stuff.
So very interesting, and I think if I may add, very relevant also. I can tell you from personal experience. At least this happens in my industry, right? Somebody who's extremely creative grows up the ranks sooner, and there it is naturally expected of them that since this person is very very creative, we should make them a manager. Being creative and being a manager are two entirely different skill sets. And I think you as students of business leadership will already know this. And sooner or later, everybody will find out that these are two separate skills. I also found out the hard way when my boss told me. So initially in my career, I was like very, very, जोशीला and मैं सब करूँगा and मैं ये भी करूँगा मैं वो भी करूँगा. And of course, I loved it when people got impressed. दो जगह से शाबाशी मिल गई तो सब जन खुश होते रहे. So until one point where my boss told me, this was like some 3-4 years into my career, right? 5 years into my career. He said, the point is not to get more people to like you. The point is to get more people to be like you so that you can, have a multiplier effect. And I think that's what you're talking about, building it at an organizational level. तुम जो कर पाते हो वही चीज, how can you get your team to done? Because then you're just multiplying, and then it's not just you who's leading the company forward, it's all the people in your team. So I think leadership as a skill is not identified by most corporates, and I'm sure this is the case everywhere. Somebody who's a great coder is made a manager, and he might not managing people and writing code are two different things, right? Somebody who's great at sales might be made a manager or a leader, but how to get more people to be inspired and get more sales is a completely different skill set than just selling something yourself. So I think leadership as a skill set itself is not very not acknowledged, not identified, not defined by a lot of corporates. तो पहले तो acknowledgement आता है, उसके बाद फिर skill training आता है. So I think what your course is offering is very interesting, and I think it's needed. And companies should start doing this at their levels, because it is eventually only going to help them. So yeah, so if I could, I don't know what tip to give you guys, because you're already in a course that shows you the difference between being a hardworking or a smart employee to being a smart leader. And I'm guessing most of you come from diverse backgrounds. So maybe the only tip that I can give is what I follow: be humble, be hardworking, and be truthful. I think ये तीन ही चीज चाहिए लोगों को. They don't need anything else. Companies don't need anything else. They'll make you smarter. Your bosses, your managers will tell you how to do things quicker. And I think have empathy. Since you guys are going to be leaders, I think have empathy towards your team. That's the biggest. That is definitely the biggest thing that I've seen working for me, at least. When you understand that your team member has taken a Monday off after a long weekend, जहाँ पे Thursday, Friday भी छुट्टी था, and Monday को this person fell sick. Be empathetic कि तुमने भी कभी ऐसे किया था, and that doesn't mean that employee is a bad person या उस पे गुस्सा करके कोई मतलब नहीं बनता. So I think empathy goes a long way in leadership, and people follow people who they believe understand them. So I think empathy for me is the greatest weapon in your arsenal for leadership.
Two things to add up with which we got conversed right now. Yes, we have a very diverse profile at IMKBL 2 program. We are the second batch of IMKBL program. We have a dentist with us, we have a lawyer with us, we have a professional singer with us. So it is a very interesting, when we set for a group project, it's really amazing to have such kind of different viewpoints. And the other part, when you mentioned you learned it the hard way about the job being like creative is different being a good business leader. Does that mean good people managing skills, or because that is one of the most important, if not the important, one of the most important part when you go higher up the hierarchy? You manage people. When you start your career, you are just at an individual job. You do your work and you leave at 6 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever your day ends at. But once you go a little higher, you manage a team of 5, you manage a team of 10, then slowly so if you be a CEO someday, you are managing the entire company by yourself. Everybody indirectly reports to you. So is that what you meant, or again these are 2-3 different things?
Definitely, more specifically being a people manager, but also being a leader. And I'll tell you examples of both. I have lost some really good talent on the way who quit and went somewhere else because I drove them too hard to achieve levels that I thought were the benchmark. These people are doing really well. They're doing some really good work, and it pains me that I couldn't get that work out of them. So, and I'll take the entire responsibility on myself, is because if they're capable and I couldn't get it out of them, the fault lies with me, right? So that is how I learned the hard way. I lost a lot of good people initially in my first 2 years when I became a manager, and hence I have now learned to be, like I said, empathetic and patient. And two, obviously, if your team cannot perform or you cannot get your team to perform, at a leadership level also it affects the entire business, which means that your unit cannot perform. So I've learned it the hard way, both one leading to the other, not being able to manage people leading to not being able to manage the business. And it's one and the same thing. A CEO eventually is what he's managing people. He's not managing departments or specific processes. He or she is managing people. So one leads to the other.
Before we conclude, we would like to know your thoughts on how EdTech will or is planning to change the education sector in India. considering it's been a year since schools have opened and exams are still not being conducted?
So I think EdTech will revolutionize education for those who want it to be revolutionized. And let me rephrase that to explain what I'm saying. For EdTech to work, self-discipline is the biggest thing that you need to have as a consumer of EdTech. क्योंकि यहाँ पे ना अटेंडेंस है, ना प्रोफेसर्स है चिल्लाने के लिए, ना प्रिंसिपल से कॉल आता है मम्मी पापा को, राइट, वेदर यू हायर एड हो या K-12 हो या व्हाट. So it's all about self-discipline, and I think now that I'm saying it out loud, education has always been that. जो self-discipline ला पाया उसके लिए education काम करता है, जो नहीं ला पाया उसके लिए नहीं काम करता है. So in that way, I don't think, other than the delivery network and the way education is delivered, I don't think anything has changed with EdTech. But the deliveries and the tech part of it, which is where it comes in, I think that's the most interesting. And I would include a lot of YouTubers, somebody like a Dhruv Rathi, और वो जो एक sir है ना जो
Khan sir.
हाँ, या
Patna.
Patna, correct, who recently came in under some controversy or something, stupid shit. और thousands and thousands of people जो घर बैठ के या तो लोगों को कुछ खाना बनाना सिखाते हैं, प्रोग्रामिंग सिखाते हैं, फोटोशॉप सिखाते हैं. I would say all of them are EdTech. Okay, as Upgrad or as any education company that charges a fee for it, we also compete to some extent to the free internet, like anything does, right? Paid Netflix does with streaming online, whatever, torrent streaming and whatnot. But I think the delivery, like I said, is going to revolutionize it, because somebody who started working after 12th or diploma because of some family troubles, and after 5-6 years are facing this pinch जहाँ पे उनको लग रहा है कि काश मैंने डिप्लोमा मैंने डिग्री कर ली होती, जो ये ऑप्शन उनके पास था ही नहीं. I think it opens it up for them. And this is not just for 12 pass, this is also for people who've done their graduation and did not do their post grad, thinking कि मैं थोड़े साल काम करके then I'll do it. Now it's very difficult to take a break once you have that salary coming in or that income coming in. So whether it is people from a fiscal standpoint, from a time poor standpoint, I think जिनको brick and mortar education के का जो rigidness है, people who were unable to access education because of brick and mortar, I think it's really going to revolutionize for them, and it already is. We won't get into the debate कि online हो सकता है नहीं हो सकता है. Like I said, अगर ज्ञान लेना है तो आप वो कहीं पे भी लेके through any medium you can take it, is my personal belief. But of course I also value human interaction, right? It's like मैं घर पे बैठ के मैं Tinder पे मैं कुछ chat कर सकता हूँ, but it's never the same as human interaction, and it's the same here also. But definitely in some cases you don't really, and this is again my personal belief, you don't really need to be there physically to get the benefits of something that you want. So that's how I see it. The delivery part of EdTech, which is the technology part of EdTech, that is what is really going to revolutionize, not just in India, but I think around the world. It's just added to the list of one more thing that the internet has revolutionized.
Nice. I think I was sold at the filmy dialogue of ज्ञान, मतलब एकदम रैंचो जैसे हो गया 3 Idiots की. ज्ञान लेना है तो आप कहीं भी ले सकते हो. I was sold at that. Thank you so much.
All right.
Nice. So here we come at the conclusion of our talk. So on behalf of PGPL class of 2022 and BL Insight Circle, we thank you, Mr. Shreyas, Head of Creative and Content Marketing Upgrad, for taking out time out of his busy schedule. In a short span of under 30 minutes, we are not even 30, it's 25. So in a short span of 25 minutes, we had many takeaways from right from the world of digital marketing to digital world, to even influence marketing and the need of business leadership in today's world. Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Abhishek.